Hi, I'm Caity at Quilt Beginnings in Dublin, Ohio, and we love to sell Berninas, especially the Bernina 880 Plus. So today in this video, I'm going to walk you through all of the basics on threading, winding a bobbin, installing the bobbin, and all the maintenance to keep your 880 running really well. So we're going to start by winding a bobbin. To begin with, your machine comes with a cover that covers up all the different spool pins there for traveling, things like that. This cover just slides straight up. You don't want to pull it out. This tab here just goes directly in and slides straight back down to go back on. So we pull it off, set it to the side. Then your telescoping thread guide also just pulls straight up. This is removable as well, so just make sure that it stays on when you pull up your thread guide. You have 3 different spool pins. These 2 are for threads going into the body of the machine, and this one on the side with the bobbin indicator there is for winding a bobbin. It also sticks a little bit out to the side, so you know it's just a little bit different. To wind a bobbin, your 880 comes with one of these wonderful jumbo bobbins. It's different from the 4, 5, and 7 series bobbins, so don't get confused. Make sure that you're buying the right one. It's a little thinner, but it holds the same amount of thread as those other bobbins, but it's specific for your 880 machine. Or your 830, the other 8 series as well. To put it on, you want to be sure that you see the sensors coming out. They're your little disco balls. You want to be sure that you're able to see them when you put on the bobbin. Your screen is going to light up and say it knows that you're about to wind a bobbin. So I'm going to put my spool of thread onto my bobbin winder. I'm going to come up and come from the back through both of these guides directly above the bobbin winding pin. I have a guide here to get my thread into, and then I want to follow the arrow so that my thread crosses back over itself. And you really want to snug it in there and make sure that it's in that tension disc. I again follow the arrow. I wrap it around 3 or 4 times, and then follow the arrow again, and that's my cutter to cut my bobbin thread. On the screen, I have a good number of options. I can adjust the speed that my bobbin's going to wind at. So I like to do a fast bobbin if I'm using a long staple cotton. If I'm using a monofilament thread or a little bit more of a specialty thread where I might get stretching or things like that, if I wind too fast, I can slow it way down. Just like on any of the Bernina machines, when I see something in yellow, it means that I'm off the default. So if I touch whatever's yellow, it puts it back to the default. Really nice feature. Down below, I can tell it what % of bobbin I want wound. So I can do a half bobbin, a quarter bobbin, or a full bobbin. This is really nice because these bobbins hold a lot of thread. So if I'm doing a specialty project or something where, if I'm doing a bright blue bobbin for just a little bit, I might not want to wind the full thing, and then I would have a lot of thread on that bobbin. Whenever I'm ready, so I'll go ahead and do a quarter bobbin now. I just hit play, and it winds a bobbin for me. It's very easy. It automatically stops whenever it gets to whatever fullness that I told it to. I also have the option to manually wind the bobbin. So with manual, I can hit play and pause, and whenever I release, that's when the bobbin's going to stop. Whenever I'm done winding, I take off the bobbin, and I can cut it right on that same cutter, and I've got a great bobbin that's ready to sew. So now we're ready to thread for sewing. I'm going to take off my thread from the bobbin winding spool pin, and now I'm actually going to open up my spool holder. I can use either one of these spool pins. I usually use this one just because it's the one that's most accessible. And the first step is the same. I want to go up through the guide, and this time I only go through one thread guide. To let the machine know that I'm getting ready to thread it, I put some tension on my thread, and I come right up into this corner. I wait for the screen to wake up and let me know that it knows I'm about to thread it. I keep my right hand on the thread and I pull this thread, I just slide it all the way through. Once I'm at this stage, I'm ready to slip it into the thread guide right in front of the needle there and up through what they call the lips, which are this piece here, and I cut it on the side of the machine. I'm ready then to thread the needle just by pressing the button. That's the most fun part. And it's ready to go. So I'm going to rethread it one more time just so we can see that again. One thing to note about taking thread out of my 880 is I never want to pull it backwards through the machine. There's a lot of just pieces and parts in here. We always want that thread to go the direction that it's meant to go. So to do that, I'm going to snip my thread back where it goes into the machine and pull it out from the needle. I'll talk a little bit in a minute about what to do when you get a thread break, which definitely happens, and you can't get any thread at the needle because it's all back up in the machine. There's a way to take it out there too. But for threading, let's see all those steps just one more time. First, I want to be sure that my thread goes up through the guide, just one guide for threading through the machine. I put tension on it, and I go up into the corner and make sure my machine wakes up and knows I'm going to thread it. I slide the thread just straight back through the machine, and still holding on with my right hand, I just slide it right into this little guide in front of the needle, up through this plastic piece here, and I cut it on the side of the machine. I press my needle threading button, and I am ready to sew. One other note on threading the 880, there's really two ways to let it know that you're ready to thread. The first is how I normally do it, which is just putting the thread through this corner and waiting until it shows the video and knows it's gonna thread. But some people are a little speedier with pulling that thread through. So if you're in that boat, you can just press the threading button once and the video comes up and says, yes, I'm ready to thread. Then you can go as fast as you want through that threading path, and when you hit that threading button again, it'll thread your needle and you'll be ready to sew. So I said we were ready to start sewing, but we definitely have to put a bobbin in first. When I open the bobbin door on the 880, the whole bobbin case and hook actually swing out and show me the bobbin. So there's no separate bobbin case in this machine. It's actually already installed right in the machine. To take the bobbin out, this little knob I just push to the left and my bobbin pops right out. Just like before when I was winding a bobbin, I want to be sure that I can see the sensors when I put this bobbin in. I pop it in and it clicks into place. But I need to actually thread the case. Just like if I had a separate case, I need to make sure that the thread is going in the right position. To do that, I pull the thread to the right and I make sure that it gets right into that little channel. If I'm in front of it, this is not the right place to be. So I just pull it to the right and it should slide right into place. Then I pull it back to the left, and when I do that, I feel a little bit of tension getting onto the bobbin. That means that it's in the right position. I cut my bobbin thread, I close the door, it swings back away, and then I'm really ready to go. A couple of notes on the bobbin. We just threaded it for sewing, regular straight sewing, zigzag decorative stitching, anything like that on the sewing side of things. We're gonna thread it differently for embroidery, and I'm gonna do that in our embroidery video on this machine. A couple other notes on the threading of it. If you want to kind of check that you're in the right position, you do have a mirror that comes with the machine that you can slide under there. And what you're looking for is actually shown on the screen of your 880. There is a little V basically that when you're on the sewing side, that's where you want your thread to be laying. It's actually very difficult if you're doing these steps of pulling it to the right and then back to the left and you're feeling that tension. It's hard to not get it in the right space, so I very rarely check it because I know that it's kind of, once I get to know the machine, I know that it's threaded correctly. When I do the embroidery side, I'll show you some other ways to check on that side that you're in the right position and ready to go. So if you happen to have your thread where it's broken somewhere up in here and you're not able to pull it down from the needle, what you have is this little multifunction tool. So this is really, really useful with your 880. It's got a lot of different tools on it. This knob here, this middle one, fits in to the side of your machine. There's just a little cutout right where that fits in. And if you push, you are actually releasing a tab that's gonna help you open up this case. You take it off and then you can see exactly where that thread is. You can have some tweezers, whatever it is, to just get all those thread bits out. And then you put the case back on. Put the case back on, you kind of get the right side in first where those little feet are, and it just snaps back into place. So let's talk a little bit about maintenance for your machine. This machine runs wonderfully when it's well lubricated, so we're gonna oil it, and when it's cleaned out from all the lint. So obviously we generate a lot of lint when we're sewing, so there's a lot of different pieces and parts that we're gonna clean out, and I'm gonna show you how to do that. You actually have a maintenance menu inside of your 880 machine. So if I hit my gears, which are my settings, I go to the machine, I'll go to my wrench for maintenance, and we're gonna start with some lint cleaning. So this little brush is my lint cleaning brush. I have two different things that I need kind of help getting to from the machine. The first is the threader. So if I touch this button, it's gonna walk me through the steps on cleaning my threader. And I'm gonna show you down here what those steps are. So to clean out my threader, first I'm gonna take my foot off. And I'm gonna talk a little more about removing the dual feed and taking off the presser foot, but I wanna get those out of the way. And then I wanna take my needle out. Your machine comes with a little screwdriver. I just give it a lefty-loosey, and this needle is definitely tightened in there nicely. So I lefty-loosely loosen it with my fingers and pull my needle right out. This is a great opportunity to change my needle when I put my machine back together. Kind of brush around in here, so see if there's any lint up in this area. Get this thread out of the way. Get all my lint out. Now we're ready to push our threading button. When I press the button, the threader comes down and actually pauses in place so that I can brush out all the lint and all the bits that are gonna get up there through the normal course of sewing on my 880. After I'm finished, I press it again and everything goes back into place. Once I've cleaned out my threader, I wanna go back using my breadcrumbs. So this is my little navigation menu, and I just wanna go back to that cleaning menu. We're gonna clean out our thread cutter next. Our thread cutter gets very linty because it's always coming over and cutting our threads and getting lots of buildup down there. So this is actually an interactive menu. I can tell that, I can scroll through and read all the instructions. We're basically gonna walk through each of these steps and I'll show you what this looks like down below. First, I'll remove my presser foot and needle, which we already did. Next, I'll remove the stitch plate. And then I just touch this button, move the thread catcher out, and I'll show you how that looks down below, where the thread catcher is actually gonna move. I can clean it out. When I'm done, I touch the next link, it's gonna move back into place, and I'm good to go with a cleaned out thread cutter. To remove the stitch plate, whether I'm cleaning the thread cutter or switching back to my single hole stitch plate, anytime I wanna remove it, I just press this circle up in the top right, and it pops right out very easily. When I'm cleaning my thread cutter and I'm selecting that link, you actually see that thread cutter move over. So this is what's exposing new spots for me to get in there with tweezers if needed to get any loose threads, or just my brush to get all the lint out. When I select move the thread catcher in, it moves back into place and I can put my stitch plate back on. So same as before, I want this in the top right corner. I usually put the left side in first and hold it down, pop on the right side, and it's all set up. So once I've cleaned out my needle threader, I've cleaned out my thread cutter, I also want to give my machine some oil. I oil this machine about every other bobbin or so, maybe every 2 to 3 embroidery projects. You'll kind of get a feel for when your machine's sounding a little bit crunchy and when it's going to sound a lot better when it has some lubrication. So just like before, I'm going to use my breadcrumbs, and this time we're going to go all the way back to the wrench for maintenance. This oil dropper is going to have a video showing me exactly how to do the oiling, and I'm going to show you what all that looks like down below. Just like before, I can scroll to see what all the different steps are, but we're going to see what that looks like. So your machine comes with a Bernina oil pen. It may not look exactly like this because they have a couple of different versions of it, but one way or another, your machine comes with some oil that's designed for use in the Bernina machine. When I open up the bobbin door, the bobbin swings out. I'm going to remove my bobbin, give it a good brush because I don't want to oil on any lint. It's just going to turn a little bit gunky that way. So I'm going to sweep out everything down below. And then I'm going to use my hand wheel and turn the hand wheel backwards. And that hook is going to spin around. What I'm really trying to do here is just expose this area here. I'm going to give it 1 drop of oil. And then, when I start to close up the bobbin door, I'm going to do this before the bobbin goes back in, because I need the hook and the bobbin case to kind of reset together. When I open it up again, it's back to its normal position. I can put my bobbin in, thread it through the gap, back this way, cut it on the little cutter there, close it up, and it's going to sew beautifully. So now that we've cleaned out everything, we've oiled our machine, we're going to put a needle back in. When I put a needle back in, the flat side goes to the back, and I press up all the way to make sure that that needle is as high up as it can go. It's very important my needle get in the right position. I start out by finger tightening this little screw. Take my screwdriver, just give it another quarter turn or so it's nice and tight in there. Once I have my needle back in, I need to put my foot back on the machine. When I put a foot on, this little pyramid here just goes right into the hole on the foot itself. These feet come with the ankles attached. They are wonderful industrial strength feet and ankle combinations that just are gonna last forever on your Bernina. So I stick it right on there and just pull this lever down, and if the foot doesn't come off, then it's on correctly. I engage the dual feed because I'm using my 1D foot just by pulling it down and forward. And then I've got my walking foot kind of built in there that's gonna give me a really nice even feed on the top of the fabric in addition to my feed dogs for the underside of the fabric. To disengage the dual feed, I pull it down and back and it goes up into its home. To take off the foot, I do the same thing in reverse. I push the lever back, pull the foot down, and I can switch out to the next foot that I'm going to use. So let's talk a little bit about Bernina feet. Each of these feet is a number 1 foot. Bernina numbers all of their feet based on what technique they're designed for. So the number 1 foot, they all do the same thing and they're all used for the same purpose. But you notice there are some differences. The one without any letters behind it, that's designed for a 5.5mm machine. So if you have a 9mm machine, this foot is not going to cover your whole feed dogs. Even though you can fit it on your machine, you probably don't want to use that one. This is perfect for the 5.5mm machines. Next, you have the C foot. The 1C stands for coated, and it has this little ice cube on the side. That ice cube codes the foot to tell the machine that it is safe to stitch a full 9mm stitch width. If you put this number 1 foot on your 9mm machine, it won't let you stitch your full 9mm because it doesn't have that little ice cube telling it that it's safe. So you would want to use the 1C foot on your 9mm machine to make use of that full width of your stitch. Next, you have the 1D foot. The D stands for dual feed. The dual feed is a built-in walking foot on your Bernina machine. You can tell that it's built for the dual feed because there's a cutout for that built-in walking foot to go. It's like a third feed dog for your machine. I love to use the 1D foot or the D foot in general. So there's a 97D, that's your 1/4 inch foot for the dual feed. There are lots of different D feet out there. And anytime that you're using the D foot, you want to use the dual feed. On the C foot, you certainly would not use the dual feed because there's nowhere for it to go. One other thing to mention about the Bernina feet is they come with a screw on the back. These screws very often, well, not too often, but sometimes they can get loose and kind of fall off the foot if you're sewing along and it's not completely tightened down. So sometimes you might find a screw while you're sewing and say, where did that screw come from? Probably from one of your feet. What that screw is for is it allows you to attach the seam guide or the quilting guide to the foot. This is really useful if you wanted to do straight line, parallel line sewing. You can use this guide, but if you're not using it, you can just take it out and keep that screw in the foot so you don't lose it. Two other accessories that come with your machine are the freehand system and the extension table. The freehand system is the knee lift, and I love this tool. It allows me to raise and lower my presser foot without taking my hands off the fabric. It's great for pivoting, for free motion quilting, for anything where I really need to keep my hands on my project. I use it all the time. To put it in, I just need to know kind of what angle I want to put it in at. So I don't want it up here, I don't want it over here. I want it just a little bit in from 6 o'clock, so maybe 6:30 or 7 o'clock. I just kind of stick it in there, and as long as I'm at the right angle, when I start pushing on it, then I see my presser foot raise and lower and I know that it's installed correctly. Next, I'll show you on the extension table just how to put that on. So I'm going to raise my presser foot, take my extension table, which is a wonderful large space for me to be able to sew all my projects on, and it just slides right on underneath that presser foot. It clicks into place, and then this circle is the release. So when I press on the button, it slides right off, I can take it off, and I am good for free arm sewing that way. So that's the introduction on how to thread, wind a bobbin, and kind of get your machine ready for sewing on the Bernina 880 or any of the 8 series machines. We're going to come back in video 2 and give you an overview of all the icons, all the buttons, and then from there we're going to have a lot more fun with more training videos coming up soon. Thanks for listening.